Daishana, Lokaishana. Called only renunciation of Putra, Vitta, Loka. Now this quotation also suggests the renunciation of the three. Putra, Vitta, Loka. All of them. Na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena. Tyagena ike amrita samanasha. This one Shruti itself tells. Now another Shruti is brought in here to show how moksha is not through anything in the Bhranti. Moksha is through jnanam iti. Paranchikhani vetrinat swayambhuhu. One Upanishad says, very beautiful vakyas. आराम से देखना चाहिए, कोई जल हरी न होना चाहिए. It's all beautiful. You should just dwell on what the Shruti says. What does the Shruti has to convey me? Over and above seeing, after seeing what the Shastra has to convey to me, after seeing that, I should be free to do what I want. That's a different thing. But I must give myself a chance to see what the Shruti has to convey to me. What does he have to say? What is this tradition of communication? What does it want to communicate to me? This must be seen. Now, says second Vakya says Paranchi Khani. And you can see what the Shruti has to say to you. You can see it only when you have the absolute leisure within. That leisure of a Janaka. His own palace was on fire and he was just going on. The class is going on. He was, it seems, it is told, Janaka was having the class, Vedanta class, and then there was fire, and everybody was busy, and he says, Kuch nahi hota hai, class chalao. Dusra shlok padho. So he went on having the class. What is the Bhranti ke andar thoda hota hai. Therefore, to reduce everything to its size, that leisure within, the leisure of a sannyasi, no pravritti, no nivritti. Because one is busy either running after or running away. Now please, now you run. Don't run after anything. Don't run away from anything. Now then run. What is that running called? What is the nature of that running which is not running after something, not running away from something? Now you run. There is no running. It is called pravritti, means running after. Nivritti means running away. Supposing you have nothing to run after and run away. Everything I said in the beginning itself. This world is not a pravritti vishayam, is not a nivritti vishayam. It is what? Jneyam. Is it jneyam to be understood? You don't have to run after snake. You don't have to run after snake. You don't have to run away from snakes to be understood. This thing has to be dwelt on. Mind has to dwell on these things. Therefore, there is nothing to run. One who goes to Himalayas, he has not achieved anything. Nor the one who stays in Delhi or anywhere, he has not lost anything. But if one understands it, he has gained. If one doesn't understand, making the prapancham as jnayam. Anyway, paranchi khani. Shruti says the sense organs are extroverted. Paranchi means extroverted. Khani means sense organs. Shabdam, Sparsham, Rasam, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. All of them are extroverted. Shrotram, Chakshuhu, Jihva, Ityadi. Vyatrinat Swayambhuhu. Man's sense organs are always extroverted. Means what? His attention is towards the things, but not to his own existence. The being's attention is obsessed with the forms. The being's attention is never with itself. Who is this observer? The observer is busy observing the name and form, but he is not really counting his own existence. He counts the existence of what he observes, but he doesn't count his own existence. That is what is called the 10th man counts everybody, doesn't count himself. The observer counts everybody. I count everything, but I don't count myself. I ignore myself. I don't bother about myself. Observing is very important. Observing is very important because the object that I observe is very important, is it not? What I observe. There is always something that I observe. Therefore, that means my observation, my attention is occupied with what? the object that I observe. But the one who observes is not counted. That is what is called extrovertedness. Extrovertedness does not mean doing wrong things, going to the club, going to the five-star hotel, eating this, eating that. That is not called extrovertedness. Every whole perception is extroverted. It's universal. It's universal. Man by nature, Jiva by nature, extroverted in the sense that his attention is taken by things, his attention is never with himself. Vyatrinat swayambhuhu. It is as though the Lord has destroyed this Jiva. Vyatrinat means destroyed. Swayambhu means the Lord. It looks as though the Lord has destroyed this Jiva by creating in him the sanskara of extrovertedness, by making him incapable of looking at himself, by making him only extroverted. He has as though destroyed this Jiva. Vyatrinat swayambhu. Tasmat, therefore, parang pashyati. Jiva always sees things, na antaratmanam, but not himself. Na antaratmanam means not himself. How can he see himself without vichara vagara? That is true. At least he can have a vichara. Who is this me? This question is possible, Understanding one's nature without the vichara, understanding one's nature without vichara, of course, is not possible, but then becoming inquisitive about one's nature is possible. I observe what I am observing, but who is this observer? Minus the observer, observed has no existence. Minus the observer. Who has the sorrow? The observer has the sorrow, or the observed has sorrow? The observer, me, has sorrow. The sorrow itself is observed. That is why I say sorrow comes and goes, pleasure comes and goes, everything comes and goes. That means the one who observes is me. Therefore, na antarat. Kaschit dhiraha. But is it a universal trend? No. Koi hote hain. Kaschit dhiraha. Some thinking person, due to viveka, plus due to sanskara, plus due to the type of education, plus due to the sanskara in the family, plus many other things. So many forces have to concentrate on him as blessings. Many forces have to come and bless him at a time, not one after the other. In order to be a seeker, one has to receive blessings from all sides at the same time. It is called kaschid dhiraha, some wise man. Pratyagatmanam aikshat. So here kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshat. Pratyagatmanam aikshat means sees the pratyagatma. Some dhiraha takes up the pursuit of pratyagatma and understands it. Avritta chakshuhu. Avritta chakshuhu means withdrawing his attention from the things, empirical things. That is called avritta chakshuhu. Avritta chakshuhu means what? Withdrawing, vairagyam. That is renunciation of karma, praja and dhanam. That is implied by avritta chakshuhu. Not avritta chakshuhu means, he rolls his eyeballs inward. He sees antaratma inside. So you sit down and then try to see inside. That is not what it is said. Avritta chakshuhu means what? Switching over from the pursuits of the world. It is called withdrawing one's pursuits. Avritta chakshuhu. Amritatvam icchan. Why does he do that? Because he wants amritatvam, seeking eternity, seeking freedom. Eternity means freedom. Seeking freedom, he withdraws from the empirical and then knows the pratyagatma, and he should be a dhiraha, and he is a dhiraha. Dhiraha means a viveki ityartha, not a brave man. Dhiraha means a very brave man. Not a brave man, he is a quiet man. He is a quiet man. Quiet but viveki. So now this particular Shruti also conveys what? It conveys the renunciation of the sadhyas and sadhanas is a precondition for the pursuit of knowledge. That is Eshanatraya Tyaga. For these two things. That the sadhya sadhana renunciation is the precondition for knowledge, number one point. And the second point is knowledge is for amritatvam. Knowledge is meant to lead to amritatvam. That is another point. Atimuchya dhiraha amrita bhavanti means knowledge leads to amritatvam, freedom, when the Shruti says. In order to support that Shruti, two Shrutis are brought here. So, na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyagena eke amritatvam anashuhu. And here kaschid dhiraha pratyek atmanamaikshad avruta chakshuhu amritatvam icchan. Amritatvam shabda is there. So there is samanvaya between Upanishad and Upanishad. There is sarva shastra samanvayam. There is unanimity of vision in the Shruti. There is no contradiction within the Shruti. Between one Upanishad and another, one statement and another, there is unanimity of vision. Not that they have similar visions, they have the same vision. There is no similarity of visions. There is the same vision. There is the same vision. Or that is what is called samanvayam, not reconciliation. Somebody has translated samanvayam as reconciliation. There is no reconciliation, please. Where there is difference of opinion, there you have to have reconciliation. You don't really reconcile where there is no difference. Reconciliation is a strategy to be peaceful with differences. How to coexist, with all the differences. Reconciliation. But there is no reconciliation in the Shruti. There is samanvayam. Samanvayam is not reconciliation. Samanvayam is the sameness of vision held by all the Shrutis. Now, yada, another Shruti is brought in here. Yada sarve pramuchyante, yada when sarve all pramuchyante are gone. When all the desires are gone. Meaning when all the desires are gone means when a person renounces all the pursuits for the sake of knowledge. Pramuchyante, kamaha, desires. Ye, jo kama, asya hridi, in this jiva's heart, shritaha, present. When a person renounces his desires for things completely, meaning what? When one takes up the pursuit of knowledge to the exclusion of everything else. That is what is called renunciation of all desires. What is sannyasa? It is a formal renunciation of everything. Renunciation cannot be formal. Renunciation is all understanding. Suppose we go to Gangaji and say, so you simply say, everything I have renounced. So you tell the sun, oh sun, I have renounced. Moon, I have renounced. You are the Sakshi that I have renounced. All the elements are Sakshi that I have renounced. The only one who is not Sakshi is himself. Therefore, everybody is a Sakshi. Just because I make that statement, can I be a sannyasi? I need not. Sannyasa is not to discover the value of knowledge. That is what is called renunciation. And then only a person who has got that jignasa alone takes up a formal sannyasa. Otherwise, he won't. Sannyasa is sarva karma sannyasa. Meaning, if you take a sannyasa, in the society sannyasa is necessary. In the Vedic society, sannyasa is necessary. Sannyasa of desire is not through change of, not because you put on a different garb, you become a sannyasi, renunciate of all desires. You renounce desires through your viveka. Viveka helps you to renounce everything and take up the pursuit of knowledge. Is this clear? Not a formality of renunciation. But yet the formality is emphasized. Do you know why? In this Vedic society, if you are not a sannyasi, then even though you have no value for karma, you are a Brahma Jignasu, the society will excommunicate you if you don't perform karma. Once you take karma, then nobody will bother you. ये तो सन्यासी है, बस कर्म करने की जरूरत है. Are you able to follow? In the Vedic society, if a person is not a sannyasi and still does not do
karma, then he is not allowed. You have to, excommunication means what? He is not allowed in the society, he is forced to do karma. You have to do your karma. Karma karna pade. You have to do karma. And it will be papa. Therefore, in order to escape from all these problems, you also appear as a sannyasi. The moment you see, the moment you are seen in a particular form, then they understand you are a sannyasi. Shastra has freed you from karma. And nobody will ask you. No sannyasi will be asked why you are not performing karma. Sannyasi will ask the one who is performing the karma, he will ask, why are you not taking sannyasa? Sannyasi will question the karmata, why are you unnecessarily involved in this karma? Sansar hai, sannyas le lo. Lekin sannyasi is never asked why you have taken sannyasa. Vidishitaha. Now this Shruti says the one who has renounced all the kamas present in his heart. Atra Brahma Samashnute. What is the result of the jnanam? Atra Brahma Samashnute, he enjoys Brahmatvam here. Atra, in this life, Brahma means Brahmatvam, Samashnute enjoys. He enjoys Brahmatvam right away. Meaning what? He renounces Jivatvam in this life. To enjoy Brahmatvam means to discover Brahmatvam. Discovering one's own Brahmatvam is what is called enjoying Brahmatvam. So this is also phalam. No, all the three Shrutis have emphasized one thing, that is knowledge leads to freedom. Amritatvam is freedom, freedom, freedom. Brahmatvam is freedom. Amritatvam is freedom. Therefore, jnanena amritatvam. इत्यादि इस प्रकार की श्रुतिभ्यः इत्यादि श्रुतियों से मालूम होता है कि the knowledge is meant for freedom. Athava, or. Another meaning also you can take. What is the other meaning? Atimuccha. Atimuccha can be interpreted in another way. That is, iti, atimuccha iti anenaiva. By this word itself, eshanatyagasya siddhatvati. Eshanatyaga siddha hone ke karan se atimuccha. By this word itself implies the renunciation of the eshanas. Asmal lokat pretya. Then there is another word, asmal lokat pretya. That particular word can mean, having gone from this world, it can mean asmat sharirat apetya mritva ityartha. Meaning having left this body, meaning videha mukti ityartha. It can mean this way. Its meaning is, I'll explain. Through knowledge, one gains mukti in this life. Through knowledge, one gains freedom in this life. Or we can say, through knowledge, one gains freedom in this life and then becomes free after death also. Having become free becomes free. Having discovered freedom in this life, even after the death of the body, becomes free. It is a far-fetched meaning. It is not necessarily as given here. There is no unnecessary emphasis upon videha mukti. There is no such thing called videha mukti. There is only jivan mukti, which is mukti. Freedom is understood while alive. Freedom is not understood after death. Then what is videha mukti? Videha mukti is a word that is used to counteract the Purvapakshis who say that you are free because you are alive, but the knowledge that you have may go after the death of the body. In order to counter that, Purvapakshi is saying, knowledge doesn't go. What is falsified now and forever. There is no such thing called ignorance being born after the death. And there is no punarjanma. All these things are implied. Thus, jnanam leads to moksha. Jnanam leads to moksha means jnanam leads to the elimination of bondage. Freedom is the very nature of Atma. This is the Padabhashya. So the whole Shruti, the whole sentence means what? Just look at the sentence. Shrotrasya, Shrotra, just listen, you don't worry about the text. The truth is the ear of the ear, Shrotrasya, Shrotram, Manasaha, Manaha, Chakshushaha, Chakshuhu, Vachaha, Vak, Pranasya, Pranaha. Then immediately he says, Shruti says, Atimuchya dhiraha pretyasma lokat amrita bhavanti. Having understood the Atma separate from Anatma, truth of Anatma become free. This is all the sentence. This is all the sentence. Now who is that Shrotrasya Shrotram? Is it another Shrotram or Atma? Because Shrotrasya Shrotram has to be Brahman, because the knowledge about that Shrotrasya Shrotram is promising me total freedom. By knowing the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, I am promised total freedom. Therefore, the thing, the knowledge of which promises me total freedom cannot be a simple thing. It has to be Brahman. Therefore, in the Shruti's vision, Shrotrasya Shrotram is Brahman. Shrotrasya Shrotram is Brahman. Manasaha Manaha is Brahman. The Vastu is Brahman. Nirvisesha Atma is actually the truth of your hearing, your seeing. All perceptions have one common truth, that is Brahman. This is Padabhashyam. Now we go to Vakyabhashyam. Vakyabhashyam is indisputably Shankara's. Padabhashyam is considered to be Shankara's, but Vakyabhashyam is indisputably Shankara's. We will go back. Just a very brief bhashyam it is. Page number. स्वामी जी कितने भाष्य देखेंगे? एक भाष्य तो देख लिया बहुत है. All right, then what will you do? श्रुति को देखा, एक भाष्य को देखा, फिर बाद में क्या करेंगे? श्रुति को देखना, how it has been mentioned before we go to the second shloka. Vakyabhashyam, you see how beautiful it is. Just try to see the contrast. Page number 31. On the same shloka, it is, I have already told you this particular thing, that is, it is believed that Shankara wrote Padabhashyam, which we have seen now, then he was not happy with it, meaning, happy with it means what? It requires more, and then he added little more, and that is called Vakyabhashyam. But my feeling is, Padabhashyam was written by one Shankara, and Vakyabhashyam is written by the Adi Shankara, the real Shankara Bhashyakara. Iti hamara vichar hai. Now please see the Vakyabhashyam. Shrotrasya Shrotram ityadi prativachanam is an answer. When the student asks the question, what is the ear of the ear, eye of the eye? This is the question raised by the student. Now, the teacher is answering. It is Shrotrasya Shrotram. Ityadi Prativachanam is an answer. Why this answer? He goes straight into the topic. No question of lingering around and at the end going into the topic. He goes straight into the topic. And that is Nirviseshasya Nimittartatvam. Nimittatvartham. Nirviseshasya means what? The absolute self. This particular answer, that it is the ear of the ear, eye of the eye, mind of the mind, this answer is meant to convey the absolute self as the reason behind all perceptions. Nirviseshasya means what? The absolute, which is nirvisesham. Nirviseshasya atmanaha nimittatvartham, to convey that it is the nimittam, is the reason behind all perceptions. Supposing you leave, supposing you don't say, Shrotrasya Shrotram. Just to listen, it's so beautiful. Ear of the ear, eye of the eye, when you say, you are not taking the Atma away from the eye, because it is ear of the ear. That means you are not creating any special division. It's not away from the ear and the eye, because it is the ear of the ear, eye of the eye. Therefore, the eye of the eye has to be with the eye. Is it clear? The eye of the eye has to be with the eye. The ear of the eye has to be with the ear. Cannot be away from the ear. If it is away from the ear, then it cannot be called ear of the ear and eye of the eye. Therefore, this kind of answer has been given by the Shruti in order to show that the Atma is nirvisesham, and yet the reason behind all perception. Vikriyadi Visesha Rahitasya Atmanaha. What is this nirvisesham? Vikriyadi, changes. Vikriyadi Visesha. Visesha means qualities. Vikriyadi means, what is Adi? Vikriya. Vikriyadi means all the asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. This is what is called all the vikriyas. You remember these things. Asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. Whenever you look at a person, you can find out in which stage he is. You know, a person, a small child is there, so jayate. Is growing, yeah, vardhate. Becomes 22, 30, 35. What? Vardhate. Viparinamate. Viparinamate. Then after 40, apakshiyate begins. The graph so goes downward. So apakshiyate. Then vinashyati. When asti, you are happy. Jayate, everybody is happy. Vardhate, happy. My own friend, asti, very happy. Jayate, very happy. Vardhate, very happy. Apakshite, also not very unhappy. But vinashyati, I can't accept. 5 vikriyas I accept, but the last vikriya, no, I can't accept it. Because I want that vinashyati is not good. Everything that has asti, everything that is jayate has vinashyati. In fact, the birth carries with it the death also. Who is born before? Jayate is first or vinashyati is first? Vinashyati is first thing. Because the moment a person is born, what is established? On the condition he will die, he is born. Is it not? As eternal he is born. The birth takes place with the precondition, he will not be there. Supposing the one who is born, Bhagavan says, you take birth. Suppose he says, no, I want to be eternal. If you make me born, if you give me birth, then I want to be eternal. And he says, no, you are not going to be born. On the condition you will not be there, you take birth. Because the law doesn't permit. Therefore, which is the first? The condition that he will not be there is first. On that condition, he is born. On that condition, he is born. All those problems are not there with Atma. Therefore, here it says, Vikriyadi Visesha Rahitasya Atmanaha Mana Adi Pravrittau. In the functioning of the mind, etc. In the existence of the faculties and their functioning also. Both of them have to be accepted. Mana Adi, mind, etc. Pravrittau, in their functioning, in their existence and functioning. You can underline and write down in their existence and functioning. Pravrittau. Nimittatvam is the reason. Nirvisesha Atma is the nimittam. The presence of the Nirvisesha Atma is the nimittam, the reason for the very existence of all faculties and their functioning. Is it clear? Therefore now, is it the power of Atma or the presence of Atma? Presence, please. So how the Bhashikara is putting? He is just is just really not going into the topic of Kartrutvam Vagera, because Shruti wants to reveal the Nirvishesha Atma, not Karta Atma. Karta Atma to malum hai, main to karta hu. Nirvisheshatvam of the Atma is being unfolded by saying that it is eye of the eye, ear of the ear, mind of the mind. Truth of all of them. Therefore, iti is prakar, etat shrotrasya shrotram. Etat, this shrotrasya shrotram, as the ear of the ear, prativachanam, answer, asya ityartha is prashnaka. That means this kind of answer to this question of the student, the answer is of this nature because the Shruti does not want you to imagine Atma away, nor does the Shruti want you to objectify Atma as an object. You should not imagine Atma as an object of perception, nor is it away from the perceiver. Either we objectify it or we imagine it as beyond. See, दो ही चीज होता है. A bhakta thinks it is an object, some form. Either I want the truth to stand before me in a given form, or I become mystical in my approach and think of it as beyond. Either I put it in the realm of the objects, or I put it beyond. There is no other way of putting the Lord. There is no place where I can put the Lord. है ना? I place the Lord either in the midst of the objects or I place him beyond. Which is better? Both are of no prayojanam. Both are of no prayojanam. Because the one who puts the Lord either here or somewhere is the truth. क्या करेंगे? Therefore here the Shruti does not, supposing you explain Atma as away, then you imagine. And if you don't say that it is Shrotrasya Shrotram, then otherwise if you don't say, then you will imagine it as an object of Shrotram. It is neither an object of Shrotram nor the very Shrotram, nor away from the Shrotram, because it is the Shrotram of Shrotram. The Shrotram of the Shrotram has to be with the Shrotram, there can't be any division. Therefore the truth of the Shrotram, if it is the truth of the Shrotram, then it is the truth of the object of the Shrotram, called the sound. Is it clear? The ear of the ear is to be understood as the ear of the ear plus the ear of the sound. The truth of the ear and the sound. The eye of the eye has to be understood as the eye of the eye and the form, meaning the truth of the eye and the form. Similarly, the mind of the mind has to be understood as the mind of the mind and the universe, because it is the truth of both. Mind cannot be there without the both. Thus, the truth of faculties and their objects. ये बात बताने के लिए, निर्विशेष आत्मा को बताने के लिए इस प्रकार के समाधान दिया गया है. अनुगमात. Why do you say like this? He brings in the reason very beautifully. Anugamat. Anugamat means in this sense alone all the words fall. All the words, the sequence of all the words falls only in this sense. Anugamat. Due to the samanvaya of all the words being in this sense. Anugamat. Anugamat. Samanvayat. Anugamat means what? Samanvayat. It's explained like Tadanugatanihi. Tadanugatanihi. Following this sequence alone, Atra asmin arthe akshārani. Because in this mantra, all the aksharas, all the words fall in a sequence in this sense. The words in this mantra fall in a sequence conveying this sense. The sequence of the words in this mantra can't convey any other sense. You can't interpret this mantra in any other sense. You can't interpret the ear of the ear. Just to see one simple bath. The ear of the ear cannot be the object of the ear. The ear of the ear cannot be the ear, because it is the ear of the ear. Atma cannot be the ear. Atma cannot be the object. It cannot be away from the ear. If it is away from the ear, then it cannot be said to be the ear of the ear. That means what now? It is not an object of ear. It is not the ear. It is not away from the ear. That means what? It is the truth of ear. As the truth of the ear, it is nirvisesham, not sabhisesham, because all the what we call sabhisesham, sound is sabhisesham, ear is sabhisesham. All perceptions have got sabhiseshas. World is sabhisesham, not the truth of it. Therefore, what is conveyed is nirvisesha atma natu sabhisesha atma. This nirvisesha atma, why should you convey that the atma is nirvisesham? Because it has been misunderstood as sabhisesham. Perceiverness itself is an adhyasa in the nirvisesha atma. Me, the absolute, is taken as me, the perceiver. Therefore, myself being the perceiver, my perceiverness is adhyasa in the absolute. To tackle that perceiverness, Shruti is unfolding the absolute nature of the self. More of it will see later. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Tatsaveryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Shrutismati Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. So, we are seeing the Vakya Bhashya, page number 32. So, Shrotrasya Shrotram, Atma is called Shrotrasya Shrotram because Atma is the nimittam for listening. Without the self, there is no listening. There will be no sound, there will be no listening, there will be no subject of listening also. There will be no upalabdha or upalabhyam or the pramanam through which one has upalabdhi. Neither there will be an object of perception nor subjectness of perception or means of perception if there is no Atma. Therefore, Atma is called Shrotrasya Shrotram. It is called the ear of the ear, eye of the eye. Now that is being explained now. Katham, how? Shrunoti, first he explains what is Shrotram. Shrunoti anena iti Shrotram. A means of listening is called Shrotram. Shrunoti anena, जिससे श्रवण किया जाता है उसका नाम है श्रोत्रम. A means of hearing is called Shrotram. Now this means of hearing, tasya shabda avabhasakatvam. This Shrotram, the ear, has the nature, has the capacity to illumine sound. That is called shabda avabhasakatvam. Page number 33. Vakya Bhashya. Shabda avabhasakatvam means the ear has the capacity to illumine. It's called the faculty of hearing. So, tasya shabda avabhasakatvam. So, tasya shabda avabhasakatvam means the ear has the capacity to hear. It's a means of hearing. Called Shrotratvam. It's called Shrotram. Ultimately, everything is illumined by Atma, but to begin with, we begin with the Shrotram. So, the Shrotram is called Shrotram. The ear is called ear because it is the means of hearing. Through Shrotram alone you hear. Called Satyavabhaskam, Shrotratvam. So, one is the means of hearing, the other is the one who hears. Now we are going to, Shankara is going to make beautiful distinction between the means of hearing, what is heard, the means of hearing, and the one who hears. There is someone who hears, there is something that is heard, and there is a means of hearing. These are the three things you have to remember. What is Shrotram? Is it what is heard? Or is it the hearer? Is Shrotram the hearer, the person who hears, or the means of hearing? Means of hearing is a pramanam. But who hears is different from what is heard and the means of hearing. So the hearer is different. कान नहीं सुनता है, कान के द्वारा आप सुनते हैं, है ना? कान नहीं सुनता है, कान के द्वारा आप सुनते हैं, आत्मा सुनता है. Therefore, shabda upalabdhu, now shabda upalabdhi rupataya avabhasakatvam naswataha. Shabda upalabdhi, the hearerness. Upalabdha means, upalabdhi means the one who hears. A situation of being a hearer, a situation of being a perceiver, a situation of being a hearer. A hearer is different from the means of hearing and what is heard. Is it understood? Sound is what is heard. Ear is means of hearing. And there is a conscious being who hears. He is called Upalabdhi. Upalabdhi means what? The subject who hears. The being who hears. The being who hears is called Upalabdhi. Shabda is a thing that is heard. Shrotram is a means of hearing. Now this situation, Shabda Upalabdhi Rupataya, as the hearer of the sound, Avabhasakatvam, to illumine, Naswataha. Shrotram itself appears as though it is illumining. But actually Shrotram doesn't illumine. Shrotram itself doesn't illumine. it looks as though it illumines. But to illumine is to know. To illumine is to know. Shrotram doesn't know the sound. The one who knows the sound is the Upalabdha. It looks as though the ear listens, but the ear doesn't listen. There is someone who listens. The being listens. The being listens through the ear. Now, this situation of being a hearer is inexplicable in the sense, if you question your situation of being a listener, this situation of being a hearer of a sound, if you go into it, it will become a puzzle for you. If you really look into it, it's a puzzle. Then you understand the problem. That is, who hears? Does the ear hear? The ear is also inert, is not conscious. Ear is also inert. The ear is inert. The sound is, you can't say sound hears. You can't also say the ear hears, because the ear also is inert. You can't also say Atma hears, because Atma is Advitiyam. Atma is Advitiyam. Advitiyam doesn't hear. Advitiya Atma doesn't hear. Pure consciousness